Hi, it's Mr. Smith, and in this video, I will be talking about credit cards. So let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, using a credit card is an example of an open-end installment loan, commonly called revolving credit. They'll use the words open-end in this book. This is as opposed to a fixed installment loan, which is the type of loan you would get when you buy a car, and maybe you get a 4-year loan and you make monthly payments of the same amount for 4 years. So with credit card, your balance varies from month to month, and so we call this an open-end installment loan. When you use a debit card, the money you spend is deducted electronically from your bank account. Credit scores run from 300 to 850. A higher score indicates better credit. Next, it asks us, what is a good score? Well, roughly 670 to 739. I've always heard that you want to be in what they call the 700 club. So 700 or better is basically good or very good. If you're 800 or better, that's considered excellent. I don't think I've ever been in the 800 club. I was surprised to hear that the average in 2022 was 714. So that's higher than I might have expected. Just to give you an example of why you'd want to have good credit, a good credit score, when it comes to buying a home, most lenders require that you have a 620 or larger credit score. There's like special programs like through the FHA for first-time buyers. If you have a 500 credit score, that means you have to pay 10% down. If you have a 580 score, it's 3.5% down. But with FHA loans, those are special loans, and you have to qualify for those, I believe, and also it's for, like I said, first-time buyers. A credit report contains details about when all your credit accounts were opened, their latest balance, and their payment history. When you buy something on credit, this indicates that you're willing to spend more than what it's worth. In other words, you're not just going to pay the price, you're going to end up paying some interest above that. You know, when people buy a car, they don't mind making payments for 4 years to buy that car because most people don't have the cash to buy it up front. But in general, it's not a great idea to buy things on credit if you can use cash. Because anytime you're buying something on credit and you're paying interest, you're paying more than what the thing you're buying is actually worth. Something to think about. True or false? If I pay my credit card balance in full at the end of each month, I will not have to pay any interest on my credit card. That is true. You do have to pay in full the whole balance. If you pay all but 2 cents, that's not good enough. You'll pay interest for the average balance throughout the month. So you want to pay in full so you don't have to pay any interest. In order to earn credit and to improve my credit score, I must pay some interest on my credit cards. That's false. And my understanding is people have been told by banks that that is not, or that that's true. Don't believe them. I can't believe that. That's terrible. All right, so let's look at an example here to help us see, or just to get a better understanding of credit cards, especially in terms of, paying interest on it, especially over a long period of time. Um, we already said basically that ideally we want to be paying off our balance every month. And if we do that, we don't have to pay any interest. And at the same time, we're earning credit. Freddie is starting college and he needed a new computer, even though he currently doesn't have enough money to buy one. In fact, he's got about $204 in his savings. To his surprise, he was able to get a credit card at an interest rate of 24.5% with a limit of $1,500. He was able to find a great laptop for that price, including the tax. Freddie plans to pay off the computer once he gets out of school. Until then, he will pay the minimum required payment on his credit card, which is 2.2% of the balance. So it seems that just about every credit card is different, or a lot of them are quite different. There's a lot of variety out there. You might pay anywhere between 2 and 5% of the balance as a minimum, depending on your credit card. So a lot of them are around 2%. And so let's go ahead and look at these two questions. How long would it take Freddie to pay off the computer if he makes no other purchases and continues to make the minimum payment? So first of all, I just want to say, it's not good that Freddie only has $204 in his savings. I'm guessing he has to live at home because, that's not a lot of savings. I'm guessing he's living at home. And he's getting this first credit card and he's already going to max it out basically. And so that's not a great thing. And so let's look at how this is going to work out for him if he's paying the minimum. All right, so that's what we're supposed to find is how long it's going to take him to make the minimum payment. So I'm going to switch screens. Let's see if we can do this well. Hopefully you can see all that. I think you can. Yeah. Okay, so the balance is $1,500. This is what we call it. It's called a credit card payoff calculator. The interest rate was 24.5%. And you can see that interest only payment would be $30.63. So if you actually paid $30.63 every month, you would only be paying the interest and your $1,500 that you owe would not go down at all. So obviously you want to pay more than that. We were told 2.2%. So you know what? I didn't multiply that out. Let's do 0.022 times 1,500, and that's 33 bucks. And let's see what it tells us here. So if he's paying 33 bucks, notice he's really only paying down his debt less than $2.37 each month. So that's not really bringing that balance down very fast. If you're only paying a little over $2 each month towards paying that down. Notice it's going to take him 10.85 years to pay this thing off, making the minimum payments. But look at that next number. He's going to pay $2,796.65 in interest. Wow. And that's for something that's $1,500. So he's going to pay the $1,500 back plus another $2,796.65. This is not a good decision financially. You want to avoid a situation like this if at all possible. So now notice I actually already got in here. This is how you can help Freddie to get out of this situation because he really doesn't want to do this any longer than he has to, certainly not for 10 years. So let's say he wants to get this paid off in 2 years. So notice I put in 24 months because this is months. And so if he makes a payment of $79.68 instead of $33 a month, he'll have this paid off within 2 years. And instead of paying $2,796.65 in interest, he'll only pay $412.36 in interest. So I'm going to go ahead and write down these numbers on A on the worksheet or on the notes. Let's see, so it's going to take him 10.85 years, And I should have asked about interest. I'm just going to go ahead and write that $2,796.65 in interest. All right, so let me go back to my other screen. If at some point Freddie still owes $1,500, how much would he have to pay monthly to pay it off in a year? Well, we had done it in 2 years. If we change this to 12 months, he's going to have to pay $142.20 per month for 1 year, and notice he'll only pay $206.43 in interest. The problem is Freddie's in college and not probably making a whole lot of money, so he may not be able to manage that, but he'd want to do that as soon as possible, unless he wants to pay all that interest. All right, let's go to the next page. So really, you could read through the rest of this. Let's see what I want to do here. Actually, let me get my notes. So you can pause this video and you can read through there, but I don't want to read all of this to you, but notice, but I will read some. Credit card loans require users to make only a minimum monthly payment that depends on the unpaid balance and the interest rate. Minimum payments range from 1 to 5% of the balance. At least that's what I was finding typically. Most credit card customers are billed every month. Typical billing period is May 1st through the 31st, but it can also run through other, like May 5th through June 4th, but it's usually from the 1st to the last day of the month. Customers receive a statement called an itemized billing that includes the unpaid balance on the first day of the billing period, the total balance owed on the last day of the billing period, a list of all your purchases and cash advances made during the billing period, any finance charges or other fees incurred, those would be added at the bottom, and the last day of the billing period, and finally the important thing, the due date and the minimum payment. You do not want to be late on your payment. That's one of the worst things, that is the worst thing you can do when it comes to your credit score, is not pay your bills on time. You know, you don't really want to pay the minimum, but at least if you're paying the minimum, you are paying your bill on time. Customers who make a purchase during the billing period and pay the entire amount of the purchase by the payment due date are not charged interest. We talked about that previously. I looked it up, and about 47% of cardholders don't know their interest rate on their credit card. I mean, what that tells me is there's a lot of people that just don't really want to know the numbers. They just want to spend the money, and let's not worry about looking at the details because that's just not very much fun. So advantages and disadvantages of credit cards. So again, I won't read all of these, but I want to at least go through the highlighted ones. So I tell students, credit cards are awesome and credit cards are evil. Depends on how you're using them. I like my credit card. I can buy stuff and I don't have to pay for it until I get my bill. I have no interest charges as long as I pay off my balance at the end of every month. Responsible use is an effective way to build good credit. So if you're wise with your credit card, it'll help you build good credit. You do get protection, so if you see something on your bill that shouldn't be there, you can dispute that and get it removed. Credit cards can offer help when you have an emergency, but this is where you got to be careful. You'd rather be paying for emergencies with savings as opposed to putting it on your credit card. That's how you end up in trouble. The other thing about credit cards is if you're going to rent a car or book a hotel or an airplane flight, it's really difficult without a credit card. And one last thing I'll mention, we have a Southwest credit card, and so we get a lot of free miles for traveling, and so that's important to us. Disadvantages. Well, the big obvious one is it's easy to overspend. And this credit cards can get you into financial trouble. Using a credit card to buy more than you can afford and failing to pay the bill in full each month can result in serious debt. Many people are in that position. I've seen a lot of numbers, but it seems to be that the average person that has a balance on their credit card or carries a balance on their credit card has about $7,000 in credit card debt. That's a lot of debt to have on a credit card because credit cards have pretty high interest rates. That's what it's saying here, high interest rates. um, and also, you got to watch that minimum payment trap, or yeah, it's called the minimum payment trap. Because if you're paying the minimum payment, you're going to be paying a lot of interest, and it's going to take you a long time to pay off that credit card. All right, well, that is it for this lesson, and I'm going to go ahead and stop right here.